All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining this call today. I am Curtis McKinnon from the Hilb Group Insurance Agency. I'm also joined by Andrew Dion from Chubb Insurance. I'd like to welcome representatives from Safe Harbor Marinas, Chubb Insurance, and the Hilb Group. Today, we'll be providing an overview of our joint initiative in progress as it relates to the proposed Safe Harbor Marina member insurance partnership between our three companies. Over the past several months, there have been ongoing discussions between the organizations. This call provides the opportunity to bring everyone up to speed and provide a visual overview so that we can be on the same page moving forward. Coming out of this discussion, we can work towards a launch of a pilot program and also what is needed to finalize those efforts. Please note that we will have a Q&A session and general discussion at the end of this presentation. In view of such, we kindly ask that you save your questions for after the presentation is over. All right, what is our objective? This initiative's goal is to provide a unique watercraft insurance solution consisting of an online application process accompanied by a strategic partnership with industry-leading premier insurance company Chubb for Safe Harbor Marina members as it relates to their personal watercraft. As some of you may be aware, it is currently rather difficult for most boat owners to obtain a reliable watercraft insurance solution. This due to the current tough market conditions facing the insurance industry. Due to these conditions, there are fewer options for buyers. Most programs are very selective and have tough underwriting guidelines, which can make obtaining coverage in the first place a daunting task. This, accompanied by increasing premiums, has made watercraft insurance buying experience rather unpleasant. Not all watercraft insurance products are the same. As with most insurance policies, the devil is in the details when it comes to coverage quality. Many watercraft insurance programs these days have strict warranties, various exclusions, and additional limitations that could cause problems in the unfortunate event of a claim. This leaves not only the boat owner vulnerable, but also the marina facility where the boat is located if the claim in question then results in damage to the marina or neighboring watercraft. There must be a better solution. Well, now Safe Harbor Marinas has the option to offer their members a simple online insurance application process through the Hilb Group and partner with Chubb Insurance, an industry-leading watercraft insurer, as an added member benefit. This provides a quality insurance product to members, but also protects the interests of Safe Harbor Marinas in view of the broad coverages offered through Chubb's policy, including automatic additional interest status of Safe Harbor Marinas. Andrew will provide an overview of the Chubb policy and highlights very shortly. But first, I would like to walk through the online application process to provide a visual to everyone on this call. Hilb Group utilizes an insurance-specific software service to develop a custom online application landing page. This landing page can be made available and advertised to members through the online member portal with Safe Harbors. A link in the portal brings them to the landing page where members can then complete the online application, sign electronically, and upload additional documents to submit directly to Hilb Group. Our Hilb Marine team then receives the application. At the same time, the member receives an email confirmation along with a copy of the completed application, confirming the submission was received and that we are working with Chubb to obtain a coverage option. The Hilb team then submits the information to Chubb via their online quoting platform for agents. Chubb receives a submission for consideration. A quote is generated for the approved submission and then sent back to the Hilb team. Our Hilb team then creates a custom proposal to send to the Safe Harbor member for their consideration with instructions on how to proceed with coverage. Here is a sneak peek of the online application portal, though I would like to stress that this application portal is customizable. Our marketing teams can work together to improve the member experience by customizing the portal as it relates to visuals, but also what information is requested from the member and in what format. The portal, of course, will have to request the required information that is needed by Chubb to properly underwrite the submission and approve a quote. In view of such, the online application essentially mirrors the Chubb watercraft insurance application. Again, the application link would be made available to the member via the member portal. We believe that this is important as it guarantees that only current Safe Harbor members with login credentials can apply, thus making this application process an added benefit for members. The portal is customizable. Some other insurance applications are pages long and take forever to complete. This process strives to make this experience simple for the member to complete. There will be the ability to upload additional documents such as a survey, a boating resume, or a storm plan that commonly accompany these types of insurance requests. Electronic signature. Sometimes members are aboard their boat with no access to a printer or scanner. They may bombard the marina office with a request to print and scan a document on their behalf. Electronic signature avoids this hassle. Before I pass this over to Andrew from Chubb, I wanted to include a quick introduction to the Hilb Group for those that may not be familiar with our company. The Hilb Group is a top 25 insurance brokerage. Within Hilb, we have a national marine insurance practice whom focus primarily on marine and yacht insurance. This includes customer service representatives who are available to assist clients. We also have an experienced marine claims team to assist with claim-related matters. We are licensed in all 50 states. At the start of this launch, we would commit to an average 2 business day turnaround for the application to quote proposal process, though we expect to speed up this process over time as we develop the workflow further. Hilb Group is an independent agent. We have access to over a dozen alternative yacht insurance programs. If for some reason the submission does not meet the requirements of Chubb's underwriting guidelines, we can work with our alternative carrier partners to find a favorable solution. Our marine team has experience working on these types of programs. We created and service a yacht insurance program for the American Sailing Association that is very similar to this initiative for Safe Harbor members. The American Sailing program is exclusive to the American Sailing member who will apply directly through their ASA member portal to obtain a coverage option. Part of our partnership with ASA includes online webinars and additional marketing initiatives. I'm happy to share information on that program with anyone that's interested, or you can check out the American Sailing website to learn more. We also manage various commercial marine programs, which are associated with various industry partnerships. Harbor Guard is designed for boat clubs and charter fleets. Harbor Tow is designed for towing and salvage companies like Sea Tow or Towboat US. Harbor Shield is for boat dealers, and Harbor Pro is for marine contractors. We also manage a marine workers' comp program. These programs are not placed with Chubb, but rather other insurance companies that are partners of ours. I would note, though, however, the Hilb Group is considered a Chubb cornerstone agent, making us one of their largest insurance partners in North America. The cornerstone title is awarded to the highest tier of agency business volume and profitability in the US and North America, which we're very proud of. Okay, now I would like to introduce Andrew Dion, Chubb Assistant Vice President, Recreational Marine, to provide an overview of the Chubb Select Insurance product and its many highlights. Take it away, Andrew.
Thanks, Curtis. And thank you all for being here. On behalf of everyone at Chubb, we're really excited to participate in this partnership to facilitate a true win-win experience, not just for Chubb, but also for Hilb, Safe Harbor Marinas, and their members. Sorry, I do have a little bit of a stutter, so bear with me if you don't mind. Many of you are familiar with the Chubb brand and our commitment to our agents, trading partners, and also clients. There's lots of synergy between all of our brands, especially quality. Chubb's the longest standing marine insurance company in North America, dating back to the mid-1800s. We have 44 branch locations, giving us a national advantage, but also having a local feel. We are rated #1 by Money Magazine as the best boat insurance company. We are the largest personal lines provider globally and a market leader for insuring clients with luxury assets. Our appetite encompasses a wide variety of different types of boats and yachts, regardless of hull value. We're A++ rated from AM Best and AA rated by S&P. And I think the final bullet point here speaks so much to what and who Chubb really is. 97%, we have a 97% claim satisfaction score, and 97% of Chubb clients would recommend Chubb to their friends and family. So we have an entire team here at Chubb to support this partnership. Again, to make it a win-win for all parties. Not everyone could be here, but please raise your hand when called. Kelly Erfer, Cheryl Cummings, Vince Burgee, and Katie Todd. Katie Todd leads our Rec Marine product. Kelly Erfer is our underwriting leader, and Cheryl Cummings and Vince Burgee are also local and regional sales leaders for Chubb. Next slide. So I wanted to go over some of our coverages that make Chubb Chubb. Recently, we launched our new masterpiece product portfolio, which represents the best and broadest coverages and services that are found in today's marketplace. It also represents the needs of the modern day boat owner. We have two products. One of them for the more price conscious buyer, and our select product, which is what I'm going to talk about here, that's designed more for the client that wants to buy the best best insurance that's out there. I'm going to quickly review our coverages on the select product, as the majority of our new business is actually written on this form. Number one, we're offering replacement cost for newer boats and yachts. That's really important. Inflation's on the rise. I think everyone here can agree to the fact that boat prices have gone up. So that's a coverage that I really haven't seen too many other companies offer. We offer agreed value on all of our policy forms, and we waive the deductible in the event of a total loss. We guarantee all OEM parts. Really important, because as you guys may know, aftermarket parts could void a manufacturer's warranty, let's say on an outboard engine or a pod drive. We have no exclusions for ice and freezing. Many companies have policy limitations that only provide coverage for ice and freezing if the winterization is done by a third-party professional. We offer very broad resulting damage and ensuing loss coverage for some of the most commonly excluded causes of loss. The thing to remember here is that sinking, grounding, collision, and even fire are not covered causes of loss, but rather results of a loss subject to policy exclusions. We have no exclusions for mechanical breakdown or machinery damage. And one of my favorite coverages, we have the broadest coverage for hurricane haul-out and precautionary measures coverage. One thing that a couple of things here, we do not require that the boat go back into the water. We do not have a deductible for this coverage, and we also provide coverage for that client to go buy bigger fenders, new fenders, dock lines, a bigger anchor. If you need to fill the boat up to move it out of harm's way, or hire a captain, all of that is covered with no deductible. We actually have a great claims case study on this coverage, and it was actually on my own boat, where I was able to buy all new dock lines and fenders to help protect the boat when a impending storm was coming. This also could be a great tool for these members to utilize maybe ship stores at various Safe Harbor marinas. We have increased towing and emergency services coverage. So we cap this limit at the hull limit. So if you have a $100,000 boat, you have $100,000 of towing coverage. Our personal property and fishing tackle limit is valued at full replacement cost with no deductible. Next, our dinghies and tenders, which we know depreciate really fast, are valued at full replacement cost with no deductible. And finally, and I think most importantly here, the marinas are automatically included as additional interest. Next slide.
Which is additional insured in our language, guys.
Sure. Yes. So I wanted to kind of put this all together and highlight some of Chubb's service benefits. One, we try to make this really easy. We have an online quoting platform that our agents use, but we also have a online app for our individual policyholders, where they can manage their policy, view claim status, and even get a proof of insurance. Finally, we have coverage for reasonable cost for choice of repair facility. So we provide these reasonable costs for the client to choose where to bring his or her boat. Ideally, another Safe Harbor marina, which will help drive additional revenue back to Safe Harbor. We have a best-in-class claims team. As I mentioned before, 97% of existing clients would recommend Chubb to their friends or family. Our claims reps are solely focused on recreational marine. And like many of our underwriters, many of our claim staff are avid boaters themselves. They have a passion for this, for not just what we do here at Chubb, but also the industry itself. Next, as I mentioned before, all of our policy forms include blanket additional interest coverage for the marina. And finally, we even offer some discounts on other valuable services, including discounted rates for Commander's weather routing. Thanks, Curtis.
Thank you, Andrew. Again, we will have a Q&A section shortly, and Andrew can answer any questions on the Chubb policy and coverage highlights. Now that we have the application process teed up and a reliable partnership with Chubb, we now need to brainstorm how to properly communicate this partnership to members. Coming out of this meeting, the next steps would be to introduce the marketing teams from each organization so you could work together on a joint marketing plan. We will be making an introduction with the marketing teams in the near future to start those efforts. Though we do have some initial thoughts and want to point out some resources that would be made available for our joint marketing efforts. Of course, we have the ability to promote the partnerships online. We can work together to create content for our website or portal. Our Hilb marketing team has already started the process of creating marketing collateral for this joint effort. We have some examples, digital and printed materials that we will share and can revise as needed to fit the brand of each company. Hilb Group can participate in announcements, including but not limited to press release or social media awareness through our various networks. We also have the ability to create content in the future that can be used for articles, blogs, or industry events. Again, we have marketing collateral examples already started, and when our marketing teams meet, they can continue to improve that material as needed. I understand that Safe Harbor Marinas has various industry events. We are open to participating with those industry events, whether it be member meetups, boat shows, or educational seminars. We can participate in a newsletter as it relates to the insurance industry. We can put on webinars for boat insurance education. And also Chubb has some amazing content that is already made available through their watercraft program, which is geared toward best practice recommendations for boaters. Some examples being what to do before, during, and after going out of layup, including a detailed checklist, storm preparedness, and marina loss prevention. This material can also be made available to members for a joint marketing effort. I'm looking forward to getting the marketing teams involved and moving this along. What is next? Well, our Hilb team is currently finalizing the first version of the online application. We would like to share the online app with your teams for your input and feedback. We can work on and tailor the application as needed to improve the member experience while completing. As mentioned, we will be introducing the marketing teams from the three organizations so that they can work on a joint marketing effort, implementation, awareness, and utilization. If all goes as planned, we are looking at a soft launch of a pilot program in June at 14 Safe Harbor locations that have been selected. Starting with 14 locations will permit us to fine-tune the process, prove the concept, and make any revisions. After a successful pilot program, we would then plan to expand to additional Safe Harbor locations nationwide. Here's a list of the 14 locations selected for the launch of the pilot program. These 14 locations, it's my understanding, consist of about 6,500 occupied slips, 334 occupied racks, and 6,800 current Safe Harbor members, which we understand is about 20% of total members nationwide. So that's a pretty good chunk of total members for the pilot program. Well, that is a general overview of our plan and efforts to date. As mentioned, we still have some work to do to allow a successful launch of the program in June. I'm looking forward to working with various parties involved to meet that deadline. I would like now to open this up for a general discussion with anyone on the call to address any questions you may have. If you would kindly introduce yourself and note what organization you are from, that would be very helpful for the others on the call. So thank you.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Oh, sorry, James.
No, please. Well, just quickly, I was just for the benefit of the Safe Harbor teammates on the phone and also others that I haven't met yet. I just wanted to reiterate that this is something that Andrew, Curtis, and I have been working on off and on for quite a while now, and it's the typical definition of measuring 3 or 4 times and cutting once. And so I'm very comfortable that this is a great next step for us and a good pilot for us. I think Chubb is as good an insurance company as exists out there. So it's really the right brand for us to partner with. Hilb, I'm not so sure about Hilb, but you got to take the good with the bad. No, I'm just kidding, of course. So I'm excited about this. One of the things I'd like to get into after maybe others have spoken is I'd like to know a little bit more about why the locations you chose the locations you did, rather. So if we could get that into the queue at one point, that would be great. Catherine, I'm sorry to step on you.
Actually, no, that's fine. Actually, thanks a lot, Andrew and Curtis, for the information. And that actually was my question, is
Okay.
what was the rationale for proposing the pilot locations?
Sure.
Andrew,
I
can take that, and
one.
I can also kind of let Katie Todd, who's our product practice leader, take that. But we wanted to start in these 14 locations. One, because it very much aligns with one of our own goals, which is expanding our non-cat and also inland footprint, as we're looking to constantly manage, cat to non-cat balances. We feel that these 14 locations, they represent about 6,500 different boats out there, which is roughly, based on the numbers we've heard, is roughly about 20% of the individual Safe Harbor members. So it's these 14 locations are great to start with because we can prove the concept. We know that most of these boats may be smaller boats, which we can transact a little bit faster, so that when we do get to the stage about potentially, expanding this to other marina locations, we are ready to run. One of my favorite sayings is, we like to go slow to go fast. Kind of similar to what James said. We want to measure 3 times before we cut. But I'm going to pitch it over to Katie. If you think I missed anything on why we chose these 14 locations, please definitely chime in.
I would echo everything you said there, and also additionally, I think the other thing we did was we tried to also focus in on those areas where we know we have a lot of success from a bind ratio perspective to make sure that we're all feeling the early success. So these are areas that we know we continually have a lot of success on, and to your point, can transact the business quickly. So to get us all off on the right foot, our easiest path forward to start with, if you will, and also just we can build from there if it's something that's working well for all of us.
Right. Yeah, and kind of piggybacking off that, my experience with working on some various insurance programs is you gotta crawl before you walk and walk before you run. So if you open up the floodgates from the get-go, then it's harder to go back, make tweaks, revisions to make the program run smoothly overall in the long run. So we are looking forward to expanding to additional locations, but we just want to make sure that we do it the right way.
Oh, I think that makes a lot of sense. My next kind of question is, how do you measure success?
Sure. Well, I can just start from a general insurance perspective, and then if Chubb, you guys want to jump in and from your specific point of view. But from the insurance industry, of course, big success is profitability, but also loss ratios. You can write millions and millions of dollars in insurance premiums, but if you're paying out twice as much in insurance claims, then that's not very incentivized for the insurance company. It's not a profitable business venture. So success is more measured in profitability and also a favorable loss ratio, meaning you're taking in a lot more in premium than you're paying out in claims.
Understood, but do you have a certain, if you end up working with us and piloting this on the 6,500 boats, I mean, are you thinking that what would be success in the first year? Would it be, 3,000 boats, or is it 65 boats, or do you have a target?
Sure. Yeah, no, of course, we got to be realistic. We're not thinking that we're going to be able to provide coverage for every single boat owner because, the boat owners just won't be motivated. But I think a successful, ratio would be probably between, around 5%, 10%. That would be a goal that'd be desirable. But of course, it would take time probably to get to that number.
Sure. And I can also say, because this is all kind of unknown for us, right? That's why we're kind of testing the waters. I don't think that there's any certain metric that we have that says this is success. But what success looks like to me is proving the concept, making sure that your clients see Chubb as a added benefit and a added resource, because this isn't just about Chubb. This is about everyone here. What does success look like? Success looks like to me that we have kind of perfected our workflow so that we can make sure that this is easy for your clients to handle. Katie, do you think I missed anything on there, or Cheryl?
Yeah, I mean, I would just add, I think Andrew's being, Andrew's a consummate salesman, right? He's very good at his job.
Sorry.
So I think he's being generous in that answer because, Andrew, he's in sales. So I think also success is measured on our quote to hit to bind, right? Our quote ratio to our bind ratio and the growth that we're seeing, right? I think that when we look at things, you don't want to be putting up, if we take all the tough risks, but we're not winning on the easy risks, you have to, as Curtis mentioned, also about profitability, right? Are we writing and do we have a good spread of risk? Are we getting the right premium? Things like that. So I think really there will be a sales success measure over time. I think it begins with sessions, which are your quotes. Then it starts, beginning with your issues and growing, and then your growth from there. So I think I would use just typical sales metrics that we use both in the agency world and the broker world and in the carrier world. So, and
Great,
good spread, right? Good spread of risk. So.
Great. No, thank you. That all makes sense to me.
Let me throw in real quick. I'm Peter Lobert. I head up marketing communications for Hilb Group and work with Curtis and definitely support what he's saying in terms of the percentages and targets, but also, hey, we want to establish that this is a trusted offering and resource for your members. We want to make sure that we kind of occupy that spot as if they come through this program and they secure their coverage through Chubb and Hilb Group, that they can trust it. They have peace of mind, and that's something that we're really looking to occupy from a messaging standpoint and a value prop standpoint.
Great.
Hi, my name is Jeremy. I'm with Safe Harbor in California. We've seen, just regionally speaking, groups like Geico dropping out of insurance with vessels that are 20 years or older and just wanting to get out of that market. You all mentioned risks. Is there segments of the market that could be our customers that seem more risky and maybe we'd see a lot more denied applications on, just knowing that, we're trying to serve our customers, but is it in with the Geico thing, not asking you to speak ill about them necessarily, but it's regardless of a survey or anything like that. It could be a Bristol boat and it's just, hey, flatly based on age, we aren't even going to consider you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's one of the things that I'm really confident about. We have, I feel that we have a very broad appetite. In these 14 areas that we're targeting, that's where our appetite really is most broad. If you start getting the Gulf and Florida, things start to, change. But we're in market for boats and yachts less than 40 years of age. We don't ask for surveys on any boats less than 27 feet. Right. So when we look at those Great Lakes inland mooring locations, you guys have more data on this than probably we do, but we find that a lot of that business is small, they're small boats, which we don't ask for surveys on. Once the boat gets to be over the age of 25 years old, then we start asking for surveys if it's between 27 and 35 feet. And then once you get over 36 feet, the survey has to be, we ask for surveys after 15 years of age if it's saltwater or coastal moored, and then 20 years if it's inland or freshwater moored, which I think is pretty broad relative to what a lot of the other markets are doing. And Geico's Geico, they're doing what they're doing. We're doing what we're doing. I don't necessarily see them as a huge disruptor, but we're here for the long term. And as I said before, we've been around since Chubb's Marine division has been around since the mid 1800s. And, we really we don't look to non-renew business. Once it's on the books with Chubb, it's on the books with Chubb. We rarely ask for surveys for in-force business. So I think that there should be a high level of confidence with our appetite. And then again, if we can't do this, Curtis, that's the other benefit of Hilb. Curtis has a ton of other markets that maybe aren't as broad as Chubb, but are still broader than most of what's out there.
And
Thank you.
Jeremy, I'll just add that that's something that Safe Harbor is going to push pretty hard for, because we can't require our members to carry insurance if they can't get insurance. And so We're going to sort of continue to push the envelope with Chubb and others on what's insurable and that kind of stuff, because that's important. We do have that problem. We also have the problem where people are having trouble getting insurance in cat zones and stuff like that. And one of the reasons to enter into a partnership like this, is to sort of broaden that market and provide a solution when a member puts up his hand and says, I just can't do it.
Thanks.
I have a quick question. Simo Post here, Great Lakes. A great presentation, by the way. How do your premiums kind of stack up against the other, let's say, insurance giants, Progressive, Geico, that Jeremy mentioned?
That's a great question. You can answer that any way you want, but I would answer that with our hit ratios. We write a ton of business in the Great Lakes and also California. That's actually one of the areas where we're most competitive. But I would say that our rates reflect our rates do reflect do reflect the best and broadest that's out there today. I think that when you get into the small boats, 26 feet and less, we are typically and most often less than Progressive, less than Geico, less than those direct writers. But all of those direct writers, none of them have the coverages that we do. And I think that's, especially when we look at these 14 locations, before we get to any others, proving the concept to make sure that Chubb is a viable option for your members is going to be important.
Right. And kind of piggybacking off what Andrew said, me living in the independent agent space, I'm constantly quoting with alternative insurance companies with Chubb and comparing. And 9 times out of 10, the Chubb pricing is right around the same, in the ballpark with the alternative insurance provider. But when you're then price aside comparing the quality of the product, the Chubb, product is far superior just for all the bells and whistles that kind of Andrew mentioned in his presentation, and we can provide additional marketing material that alludes to such. So when we're dealing with our various clients, we almost, advise them, of course, price is an important thing, but then next, of course, and most importantly is the coverage quality, because in the event of a claim, you want to make sure it's covered. So some of these other insurance companies, they're competitively priced, but what are you getting for that price? Then they have, very, specific exclusions, warranties hidden in the body of the policy that you weren't made aware of. That if you choose, an alternative insurance product prior that, maybe was a little bit more expensive, but has that additional coverages or is a better product, then, it's better in the long run. So that's the motivation for the partnership with Chubb for this initiative.
And I would just add that.
Go ahead, James.
Oh, sorry, Steve. I would just add that, I had actually thought of Chubb as being somewhat of a premium product and therefore higher pricing. I'm interested to hear that it's not always. But Safe Harbor is a premium product. People come to Safe Harbor not because they just want a place to tie up their boat and, park their car. They come because they want the experience. And I think that this is a level of partnership that we can provide that fits right in with our brand and our I'm not going to, aura is a terrible word, but I can't think of a better one. So yes, as you and I, or all of you know, we've spoken ad nauseum to our internal people about the differences in insurance. Insurance is not insurance is not insurance. Agreed value, actual cash value, depreciation, what's excluded, all that kind of stuff it's sort of the dirty details in the fine print that most people don't pay a whole lot of attention to. But with something like this, we can feel comfortable, or I would feel comfortable that our members are protected from all those pitfalls automatically just by the writing in the policy. And so I think members would be welcome, it would be pleasantly surprised when they do have a claim, even if they do end up paying a little bit more for the premium coverage.
Yeah, and James, one thing that we usually say is, what we like to say about, insurance is typically it costs more to fill your boat up with gas than it does to pay the increased cost of having a reputable insurance company. And I say reputable because there's, Chubb isn't the only reputable company out there. So, I think when you're looking at, sure, maybe $200 more on a, $800 policy, but you spend more on gas, filling the boat up with gas,
That's spoken like a true boatsman who's passionate about filling up his boat with gas. So I appreciate that.
I'm not passionate about that part. But I do have my Safe Harbor black card. I don't know if those still work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to follow up, James. Thank you for raising that point about that Safe Harbor is a premium operation, and that's why your members come to you. And I think that that's why this synergy between the three companies is so valuable and so strong. I had a question for Safe Harbors, and probably for you, James, about other offerings that you have for your members and take-up rates, or what do you think is kind of the secret ingredient to getting in front of your members to get engagement that we should consider?
That might be a better question for Rebecca than for me, but
okay.
I think the primary benefit of being a Safe Harbor member is the black card, as Andrew mentioned. You get fuel at our cost, you get unlimited free transient nights at any Safe Harbor location. Plus, you have the effect of the network effect of knowing what you're going to get at a Safe Harbor Marina. In terms of individual partnerships, we have tons of them, and I guess I would turn it over to Rebecca to talk more about that, if you don't mind.
I know Cheryl. Hi. Nice to see you again. Hey,
Rebecca.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't see you there.
I'm here. How are you?
Good.
Used to seeing you at the boat show. Boat show. No, I mean, what James said, I think a big differentiator for Safe Harbor is the membership and the member value proposition. And we are more than just a marina, more than a home port. We're providing value. We're providing experiences, fuel it cost, all the things. So, you know, when we're looking to take care of our members, this obviously falls into that. But I think the biggest thing is our members truly trust us. They know that we're not going to partner with any brand that we don't believe in fully. So that goes a long way overall. So I think, you know, we can, depending where this ends up landing, James just sort of pulled me in recently. So I definitely
Apologies for that.
It's all good. Hopefully I'll, you know, debrief more with James, Catherine, and probably can come back to, you know, how we can, you know, help deepen that relationship with our members. So, you know, but that's sort of high level, I would say, just food for thought.
Great, thank you.
James, I have a quick one. Is there
Jeremy.
some regulation for Safe Harbor offices recommending certain insurance companies over others, or did I misunderstand that? And I'm sure that's been thought of by this whole group, if that is a thing, but how do we navigate through that?
Curtis, you want to take that?
Yeah, I mean, of course would have to double check with, you know, our legal and compliance team, but it's my understanding that, you know, there isn't for kind of a partnership, an endorsed partnership. Again, you're not forcing members to obtain a certain coverage solution, but rather just letting them know that we have this relationship and, you know, feel free to apply directly for coverage. And I am aware of there's been other similar programs in the past. James, I know you're familiar with the brewery yards, you know, years ago had an insurance program. So it's not something that's new. It's just, of course, there's a large scale associated with Safe Harbor Marinas. So it's more about finding a strategic partner that could align with your current business structure. So it has been done before. So I don't see why it wouldn't be able to be again. But of course, it's probably the wording of the relationship, which would, you know, question any, you know, legality concerns.
Thank you.
And I would probably just add, I don't, Katie, you look like you're going to jump into. So I was just going to add, remembering that Curtis is independent of us. So he has the opportunity to go out to the market and find other markets if there's a better fit out there. So I would, you know, probably emphasize that they do remain, they're a partner of ours, but they're independent of us and they can advise clients independently of Chubb. Did I hit on that, Katie, or were you gonna
Yes,
say
you
more?
did.
Okay.
And I have a separate question as well for you guys. I know kind of the concept of Geico pulling out of the market for those 20-year-old boats, 20 years and older. Do you guys have some insight into any general statistics on the types of boats, ages of boats, average length, things like that, of what is sitting at your marinas? I'm just kind of curious to better understand what we think may be coming our way. It'll kind of help us gauge what we think some of those like bind rates may turn out to be and things like that.
That's a great question.
For the Great Lakes, it would be for summer, it's about 36 feet, I would say. Winter storage, it gets up in the 40s. So that's helpful.
Okay, thank you.
We can do so. I provided some numbers to Andrew, but we can do some more research. And again, we probably have the information, but not at the, you know, the tip of my tongue right now.
Okay.
It varies a lot. You know, the marinas in
Right.
Kentucky are going to have a lot different demographics than, you know, Rybovich in Florida.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
I just had one last question, and did you offer this program once before or with any other marina group? Is that what you were referring to about the brewery yachts? I don't know if that was Andrew.
Yeah, well, I can take that, Simo. Back before Safe Harbor really came into alive, Brewery Yacht Yard Group here in New England had a preferred insurance program with the New Hampshire Insurance Company, which is a division of AIG, administered by a local broker in Connecticut that lasted for many, many, many years. And so I think that's what these guys are referring to. But none of them were really involved directly.
Oh, so Chubb hasn't done this with any other marina group, in other words.
we haven't done something as targeted as this. But we work with, we usually rely on our agents and brokers to help keep our business pipelines full. But this will be this will be somewhat new for us, but we are fully ready and fully prepared.
Thank you.
I apologize. I didn't say this when I got on, and I don't know if we're wrapping up, but I commend, Curtis, Andrew, James, everybody who's been part of this, the Chubb team, the Hilb team, the Safe Harbors team. I know it's been worked on for a long time, but this, was an idea, months ago, maybe even a few years ago, and they've worked through it, and the work that you guys have put into it to build a really interesting way to offer and differentiate Safe Harbor members and get out and kind of build the rec marine space is impressive. So I commend all of you guys for all the work that you've done on that. And thank you for choosing Chubb.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Great. All right. Well, I mean, if there's not any questions at this time, we can wrap up, but I'll be sending a follow-up, to James and Chubb. And I think the next steps would be, getting the marketing teams introduced and involved so they can start brainstorming on some ideas and then continuing to work towards the launch in June. But of course, if there's any questions as time goes on, feel free to reach out. I'll make my contact information available to everyone. So looking forward to proceeding with our efforts.
So Curtis, you'll do that introduction offline with us. Again, I mentioned I'm Pete Lowred on the marketing team for Hilb Group. We've got Amelia Barnes and Sarah Carter on our team also on here, and Taylor Richardson and Margaret Goldman had scheduling conflicts, but will be joining as well. So we will be well represented. Look forward to it. Really excited about the product. I honestly look forward to working with the team.
Yep,
Great.
Perfect. Yeah, no, Andrew, James and I will reconvene, and then we can maybe introduce the marketing teams from each party, and then go from there. And then I'll also be sending out the recording of this meeting as well, so everyone has that for maybe an individual from your organization that missed out and would like to be interested in learning more.
Thanks, Curtis.
Great.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.